Hello, heroes. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 34 of the Nexus podcast. As always, I'm Adam Eastwood, and today we have so much news coming out of Blizzard about Heroes of the Storm. It is actually very exciting. So we're going to get into it. We have our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I've been on the podcast, but like Gazlo, I've been building up my energy, building it up, 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 ready to fire tonight.
We have Blizzard and esport enthusiast, Ben Blazik.
Good evening, everybody. It's pretty good to be back on a casual Friday. It's nice to have David back with us here, and pretty excited about some of the news that we're going to get to talk about, especially the fact that we've been waiting a while for one specific piece of information, but we'll talk about that a little bit.
And even though there's a ton of news about all these superheroes making changes, we still have just the regular, amazing Josh Williams.
That is me, and I am glad that all four of us are here to talk about all of this awesome stuff that Ben's talked about. Not really talked about, but did talk about. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. I was looking forward to it all day.
Yes, I've been very excited. Was it 2 days ago we got two pieces of news, and today got more news, so it's crazy. So Ben, before we kind of get into the news, what have you been up to in games this past week?
Not really like a whole lot. Just mainly some WoW and a little bit of Heroes, not as much as I would have liked because I took the wrong mouse with me on my trip. I had to go to Fort Knox and Fort Jackson this week, and I took my Naga mouse, but I absolutely despise using that mouse for shooters and MOBAs. I can only use it for MMO games. So when I was dabbling in Heroes and screwing around and messing up all my spell combos because of the key bindings, I just quit playing. So this weekend I'm going to catch up on some Heroes, but other than that was just PvPing in World of Warcraft as much as I could, and working a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you mostly just PvP when you play WoW? I know you just kind of got back into it, or do you raid at all?
As of right now, mainly PvP. I started mainly as a PvP player back in the original vanilla when it released. Did raiding throughout the expansions. I may or may not get hate mail for this, but I actually despise MOP, period. I think it was one of the worst things that they ever did to World of Warcraft. I am extremely excited for Warlords, but I hate the raid content of MOP, so I don't raid.
Okay. Now, what mouse do you use when you do play Heroes of the Storm then? Just like your everyday mouse, or?
I use a 2014 Death Adder.
Death Adder. David, it's been a while since you've been on, so why don't you kind of catch everybody up to what you've been doing in terms of podcasting? Well, I guess podcasting and gaming.
Well, in terms of gaming, to be honest, I was sick as a dog in the middle of this week. Had like a giant ear infection that actually I went to the doctors and had to get drained. So if we want to talk putrid bile, that was somewhat similar.
It kind of fits.
But on a less
coming out, so.
On a less disgusting note, what I've played has been mostly a lot of Hearthstone. Been doing that. However, I did jump into Heroes, and it was my first chance to really play the redesigned Tassadar, and I've really fallen in love with them. I think I've decided that my game style in Heroes is to be the bully, because I really like all these AoE attacks and killing the minions, whether I'm throwing frogs that explode at them or whether or not I'm using Psystorm. That's pretty much it. Another interesting thing is, as you know, as a Canadian, I know many Canadians. And because of the fact that they've brought in a lot of people now, and from Canada, everyone's super excited. I'm on a Facebook group for the Toronto Hearthstone community, and everybody all of a sudden is talking Heroes of the Storm, all this stuff. And one of the posts was like, hey, everybody, let's have a race to 40. And I'm like, I win. So I thought that was pretty cool, and no one quite understood, so I didn't want to play the podcast card, so I just said, okay, sure, I'll race you guys. Let me know when you're there.
Why wouldn't you play the podcast card? That's how you're like, hey, guess what? You can listen to our podcast and learn about it.
I do it more on a one-on-one basis. I'm more of a networker than a flashy guy. So we're got to build the grassroots out, and that's the important thing, not just flash it up there.
Not just flash it up there. Fair enough.
I'd rather have one person listen to all of our podcasts than 10 people listen to one of them. That's my marketing slogan for the day. So we had a big sales conference at work this week, so I know a lot of slogans.
You've taken a lot from that. Now, you mentioned you've been playing a lot of Tassadar, or playing Tassadar. You like to be lane bully. Did you take the where you get to Psystorm twice in a row?
Yes,
I love
of course.
that.
I'm very damagey Tassadar because I find, I mean, with Archon and also with just the normal shield, it's just like it's a nice balance. Like it's a really sweet balance. And what I've been trying to do is lane with Zagaras as much as possible. So if you can like pop your shield and the two of you between Psystorm and all the gunk she throws out, like you can like basically we were in Dragonshire and we basically wiped out the first fort just ourselves before there was even like the first Dragon Knight wave. So it was a lot of fun. It was pretty cool. You need about 2 or 3 heroes on a Zagara and a Tassadar.
So what you're saying is, if you're gonna lane with someone, you're gonna lane with whoever's the most overpowered at the time.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a good thing. And it's nice to see Protoss Zerg coming together and killing humans.
Protoss Zerg harmony.
That's right.
That's what we all wanted, right?
That's right. I want to lane with a Zagara and take down Kerrigan and Raynor. That'd be my thing. That's my dream.
Josh, what have you been up to this past week?
Same thing as Ben, believe it or not. And I think we were playing the same class. I've been playing a crap ton of PvP in World of Warcraft with my Warlock, having a blast with him. I've never really PvP'd this much before, so this is new and it's exciting. I will say though, Cataclysm is the worst thing to happen to WoW, not Mist. But I mean, that's all I've been playing. It's just when I get home from work, I'll hop on and play PvP. Just do that until it's time to go to bed and wake up, go to work, come home, PvP. That's all I've been doing really. It's just PvP. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I am so bad at PvP and WoW. It's not even funny.
It's fun with the Warlock. Fear, Chaos Bolt, Fear.
You need to get trained.
Yeah, I guess I need like
Yeah.
can you do one of those just like the montage trainings so it's like 5 minutes and we're done and then I'm good? Like, can we do that?
We can make a video. It might take longer than 5 minutes to make that video, but we can make a video.
Yeah. What was I had a train of thought.
Why do we really need WoW PvP when we've got Heroes of the Storm anyway? But that's a discussion for another day.
Because I don't have a Warlock class yet in Heroes.
No. Soon.
That's a good answer.
Very good answer.
Go down.
So for me, I've actually not touched live World of Warcraft all week. I've actually been playing in the beta a bunch. I'm trying to learn how to theorycraft a little bit. Like, I want to sound a little more intelligent when I'm talking about it on Monk Meditation, because they're all some of the other people there like theory crafters, and they have theory crafters they talk to. So I'm like, man, I need a theory craft. So it's interesting, and trying to theory craft a tank is I think a little more difficult because it's not like the how much damage am I doing? Does this do more damage than that? It's all survivability, So it's like trying to change stuff within polls. I've had Ben stalking me again this week, getting messages on Steam.
I don't know about that.
It's close enough when I'm on Steam getting messages from you about playing Mortal Kombat. It's a little stalky.
That's not really stalking. I just logged into Steam and happened to see you there. While I was sitting on base, I logged into Steam on my phone and I'm like, this dude.
This dude playing Mortal Kombat. No. And then I actually, been playing a little Heroes of the Storm. Ben has been watching me, so making sure that I'm keeping up on it. And, I played a couple games on Wednesday. I played the new Tassadar. I was like, I haven't played him yet. What I actually want to talk about a little before the news is we actually had 3 specific matches that were very interesting. I had played with Fimless and Char from Hotscast. And the first match, we had no support. We basically had 1 specialist, 2 warriors, and 2 assassins, 1 range, 1 melee. And we, dominated. I was actually really, impressed. I was like, I thought we were going to lose because we didn't quite have, any heals and stuff. We did really well. So the next game, we queue up again, and we end up with no warriors. It was something like 2 assassins and 3 support, and we didn't do so well. It was interesting, but we didn't do as bad as the third game where it was almost a no assassin game where we just had one assassin. We couldn't kill anybody, and we did absolutely horrible. It really made me feel like the one class that you need, or the one type that you need in game, is an assassin, or at least 2 assassins to actually be able to DPS your enemies down. Because without warriors and without support, we're able to do okay, but without assassins, with just one assassin, we had no shot. What do you guys kind of feel? Have you guys noticed that when you've been playing, or?
I don't know, man. I played that 5 support game with that streamer Nightingale, and we won. Like, very convincingly.
Right, but we were playing 5 support too, but now that you can't randomly get people in there that are like if you're 2 or 3 support, you actually can't get the other 2 support now. Like I know, like you said, all support works because you can build some damage, but like in a still mixed team, but without missing one kind of key element. What do you think of that?
I mean, yeah, for the most part. I still think they have a long ways to go on that whole. If you have 2 of this, you can't have any more, but we're going to try to give you this. Just because it doesn't really seem to happen. Like, it kind of seems like some of the rules don't apply all the time. Like, if you get 2 supports, you're going to end up getting 2 specialists, and then you're just kind of, okay, well, now we're screwed.
Yeah, 2 specialists I find really difficult to play with.
Especially if it's Abathur and Murky.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't flow, especially in a random game. Like, you can maybe make it work in a full 5 pre-made, but no, not a random.
Yeah, because you need the communication to make some kind of like a specialist. Like David, you had like kind of your own specialist build in your head where you have the 2 specialists that were taking down everything, but you really need to be talking in order to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea of having a whole bunch of support and warriors together, I can see it work. I mean, that's what the whole talent system's about, right? I mean, it's the idea of kind of adapting on the fly to what your group looks like. So, I mean, I think there's always a solution. It's just like you said, you've got to coordinate together and you've got to figure it out. So, I mean, even some of the supports can throw out some pretty good DPS. I keep using that term, but throw out some good damage when they need it, right? So I think so, and same with warriors too. I mean, there's some warriors out there that you can throw a lot of damage around with. So I think it's just a matter, like you said. I think so much of this game is just communication. And that's why, to me, like, the random groups, it's learning and kind of learning how to play your hero right. But you want to win as a team, you got to be communicating with each other.
And Josh, what do you kind of feel about the teams where you're like missing one type? Have you had any luck, or has it been, hell for you?
Yeah, I've been on teams where there's 3 supports and like nothing gets done. I mean, there's healing going on, but I mean, that is not fun at all because you need to have. To me, I like having that strong tank and at least 1 support, and then assassins are at least 2 tanks. But when you have more than supports, they suck.
Yeah,
that's what I've noticed at least. It could have been just my team because I was on them, but
it's like an all or nothing thing. Either 5 supports or you need like 2 supports at most. You can't be anywhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like David said, you have that talent system to where sometimes the support can add a little, depending who it is, crowd control or
like
damage.
a Tassadar who can almost go complete mage on you. And, where other ones can't.
Yeah, I was grinding mercenaries with Tassadar. Like, it was just like I think I always grind mercenaries though. So I think no matter who I'm playing, I end up like hitting mercenaries. That's probably why I never play like Nova.
I'd say one thing that goes back to the problem, or the conversation we had about how we only really have very generic terms for all the different roles, like assassin, warrior, and so on. You really need someone in your composition that's a poke. So Nova can poke a little bit, Raynor can poke. You need somebody who has a poke ability that can reach out and touch people at afar in order to be able to kite better and kind of make the enemy team like suck them into a vortex for a concave, fake an initiation with a poke, and then have them come in and all in, and then you can just concave around them and stun them and so on. If you don't have a poke, it's really hard to get ahead.
Yeah, I could see like having an all melee group being a big problem, more than necessarily the assassin support specialist warrior combination. Like all melee, I could see being a huge issue.
Yeah, it's so funny. At first, I thought you said you need someone who can pope. And I'm like, ooh, Ben dropping some new terms. What's this mean?
You need the big hat.
The big hat and the Pope-mobile.
That's right.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get right into the news then. Well, I guess not get right in. We spent some time elsewhere.
Real quick, though, wouldn't that be a cool character in Heroes? Like one of the priests from the Scarlet Crusade?
Oh yeah,
like
or
an archbishop. What's his name?
Benedict.
Archbishop Benedictus or
Benedictus.
whatever.
Almost said
Yeah,
Bishop.
Twilight Father.
I almost said Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm like, that's not the right
Benedict
name.
Cumberbatch would be an excellent hero.
Yeah, no, yeah, it would be pretty cool. It would be a priest and a whole bunch of heals going out. Heals and shields.
Be one of those Raven priests from Wrath, where they
Oh.
were in the Dragonblight zone.
Yes, that would be pretty cool. I mean, would there'd be support with like a mage offset? I'd almost say, where kind of like a Tassadar, where you can build DPS like, but then you could priest and heal as well. Okay, so if barring any other thing anyone wants to say, we can go ahead and move into the news. So the first part of the news this week was a nice developer insight on Garden of Terror, the new battleground that we're going to see in the upcoming patch, which I think we all kind of agree that it's going to be next week. It's the last week of the month, and that's when they've been putting out their big patches. Now, before we get into kind of the Garden of Terror itself, what was also cool, as I mentioned, we're also going to get a hero along in this patch. What are guesses for the hero?
Well, we all know what yours is. So.
Yes. Well, we know what yours is too, Ben. Why don't you just go ahead and tell?
It's not going to happen. I'm just going to get my
Come on,
hopes
Ben.
up, and it's not going to happen.
Ben. Tell us, Ben.
I want
Tell us.
Cho'Gall, but I know it's not going to happen. So,
Well,
Next.
that's who you're hoping for, but who do you actually think it's going to be, though?
Just because I don't really want to admit that you're right, but I think you're going to be right. I think it's either going to be Chen, but I'm kind of hoping it's not, and instead it's Kael'thas, but I'm probably going to be wrong. So
We're going to have our first actual mage in the game, for real.
it'd be nice, but
David, your prediction?
You know what? When I look at Garden of Terror, I'm think like Zangarmarsh. To me, that's such the thing. And when I think Burning Crusade, who? Not only do you fight once, but multiple times in Burning Crusade. I'm going to go with Kael'thas. I want a mage in the game. I think he's really, at least from what I've seen in terms of the model, really cool looking. I like that whole cape look, and he's always been one of my favorite characters. So I'm going to go with the big K.
Okay. Josh?
I am going to go with Chen Stormstout for multiple reasons. One, he's on a splash when you log in. He's there. Only hero you can't play yet. Two, all the other heroes that they've come out with just has been mainly range or Zagara range, Lily support range, Brightwing support range, and
Tychus has come out, and Murky.
Tychus has been out.
Well, no, but he was the first release after the alpha came out.
Oh yeah, and then Murky, range too. So I have a feeling they're going to put in a tank knight, a warrior. I think he's going to be a brewmaster monk, and they're going to put him in this. That's my guess, just because of all the set patterns that they released before. They haven't released a melee guy yet.
No, I agree 100%. I am all for Chen Stormstout. He'd be a nice brewmaster / windwalker-ish, because he has to have the ability, storm, earth, and fire, where he spreads into 3 Chen Stormstouts, just beating people up. I can't wait for that. I know a lot of people really are expecting a Nubarak, because he's on the splash art for the Q&A, but I've told everyone, he's been on pretty much every splash art for Q&A. But he was also teased during the Zagara trailer, so we know that his model is in the game.
he was also in the original gameplay video that they released at BlizzCon.
True.
So,
True.
Yeah.
Two
That would be cool. I would be
two
happy
bugs
with
in a
that,
row
too.
would be tough.
True.
Yes.
Nah.
My big thing with Nubarak is that I think they're going to start going through the ones that they teased at PAX East, Kael'thas and Chen, before they Nubarak, because otherwise I feel like they would have kind of teased a Nubarak at that point as well.
Does anyone think that a slim chance of Sylvanas being added to it? Because they teased it with her too.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't even think of that, but
I'm surprised you were sleeping on that, Mr. Pax.
yeah.
Just-
Hey, it was a while ago. And
I will say
I want
this,
Chen.
Whoever they add, regardless, I'm going to buy, and I know Adam will too. So
Well, yeah, I got 33,000 gold just waiting for somebody.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into the Garden of Terror. So, as a quick rundown is a day and night phase. During the night, you're going to be collecting seeds in order to then use those seeds to summon a. Now I'm blanking on what it is. Is it the? Why am I blanking out on what they're calling
the plant horror, right?
The plant horror, yeah. So you get a called the flowering
Guys.
shambler. What?
Oh, never mind. Continue.
I got it.
Well, no, I was gonna say after we collect 100 seeds, we got to summon the Almighty Garden Terror, but
yeah.
never mind. Continue.
The garden.
I thought there's plant horror. Oh, plant horror overgrowth. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I knew it was plant horror somewhere.
Exactly. We're horrible with names. So the flowering shambler. So basically, you summon it. One of your teammates control it very much as you do in Dragonshire, where someone gets to become the knight, and you have to march your way down and destroy towers and eventually the palace at the end. What are your initial thoughts on the battleground, Josh?
I think it's going to be fun. It's kind of like a different take on Haunted Mines. You collect 100 so-and-so, except I believe... let me see... Whoa, firecracker. You collect 100 seeds, and then you summon the Garden Terror guy, and sounds really cool. I like the day and night cycle too. So I'm very excited to see how this goes, because I played Dota and I liked having day and night cycle in that, and so this is going to be interesting, especially with day and nights having, as far as I remember seeing correctly, you can have the maps different during day and night.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really cool because at night you really have to be careful of like ambushes, because you're not gonna be able to see as far, and you really have to be careful of the enemies. I can see some pretty cool strategies with that,
especially with Murky. Murky's gonna be a jerk.
He's gonna be a jerk at night.
Yeah.
You thought
As opposed to during the day.
late night Murky is worse than daytime Murky.
Oh yeah, 'cause you're not gonna be able to. He's going to have that small range. It's gonna be insane.
Mm-hmm. Ben, what are your initial thoughts on the battleground?
Dude, I'm really excited actually about it when I was reading through everything that came out. So number one, I love the day and night cycle changes. I even loved it going back to Warcraft 3 when you're just playing the regular campaign. It was day and night cycle and so on. I really love how there's not going to be mercs at night. So they're kind of making us go back to playing the map mechanic, as opposed to all the problems that have been happening on Haunted Mines, where people have been skipping the map mechanic and just pushing merc camps during the first Haunted Mines entrance. So I really, really like that idea. Overall, I think it's going to be something great that we can get into and try out, and I hope that the map really comes alive as far as the theme goes at nighttime when it happens. There's cool, art transition effects, because I really like how that adds to the immersion of the game. I definitely can't wait to get my hands on it and try it. Surprisingly, I actually like Dragonshire better than the Haunted Mines, and seeing how there'll be mechanics from Dragonshire that'll be similar. I think it'll be pretty straightforward and really good all around. I just really want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's like almost like a amalgamation of what's good about Haunted Mines, kind of collecting to create a big monster, and what I like about Dragonshire, where you actually get to become that monster. So it's a good mix between the two, which is exciting. I can't wait to play a new battleground. David, what about you? What do you think?
I agree with everybody. I think it's going to be a really fun, nice mix of Haunted Mines and Dragonshire. The fact that you can become the plant monster, for lack of a better term, Garden Terror. I mean, I've got Flowering Shambler here. There's like 20 different descriptions of plant monsters here. So the one thing I'm a little critical of, and is that I don't like the fact that the night sequence ends depending on when you kill all of the night horrors. To me, that feels a little too much like Haunted Mines. I would kind of like it for just to be a straight half and half day-night sequence. And that would add, I think, a little bit of variation in terms of strategies. I think by basically just ending the night sequence when all the night horrors are killed, that just feels a little too much like Haunted Mines. So I think it would be more unique if it was just a strict day, night, and then you kind of figure out, do you want to run out and kill all these guys, or do you want to let them live, and then you're just gonna push without getting your garden terror. So I mean, that would be the only thing I would tweak if I was the king of the Nexus.
Yeah, but at that point though, would you maybe see that if it did have a hard cap where it was a set number of time no matter what, that some people would just try to avoid going out and exposing themselves at nighttime and gathering all the seeds. Instead, they would just defend, so that way they could wait for daylight to come back up and then push merc camps more and just keep forgetting about the objective like they've been doing in Haunted Mines. Because I actually kind of like that idea. It forces us to play the objective, period. If the other team is not moving as fast across the map and we want to push mercs, we need to go out onto the map and get seeds to make it happen even faster, so that way we can push a merc at daylight.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what you're calling a bug, I kind of call a feature, in the sense that I kind of like having the choice of whether or not to push the objectives. Like that adds the strategy a little bit. That's kind of why I'm thinking, like, I like the idea of, like, hey, let's just defend and wait for the merc camps, and maybe the other team's gonna try and get them all, or maybe they'll be thinking. There's just it adds different styles of play, and then you see, like, if everyone's really aggressive, then that strat works, or if one's aggressive and one's defensive, that strat will work. I mean, different heroes will work with different things. Like, I don't want to. I know I'm kind of going against what Blizzard wants, but I mean, this map is so dynamic. I think it can survive the idea of, like, you don't necessarily have to go after the objectives. If every map is just go after the objectives, then really, what's the strat? Like the big macro strat that you're going for.
My opinion is that David doesn't want to get lost in the woods at nighttime and ganked.
Yes.
Our woods, we got a lot of woods here, and they got bears. So it's I would agree. I definitely am not a lost in the woods. I saw Blair Witch Project the first night. I take some lessons from that.
When you thought it was
I don't
real?
mind being defensive.
So with the Plant Horror, we're looking at having two abilities. One is the Plant Horror Overgrowth, with disables and damages all enemy. Wow. Let me try that again. Disables and damages all enemy buildings around the casted area, but that can be attacked by enemies to kind of clean it up. And then the other one is basically a mass polymorph that if your enemy team is kind of bulked together, man, they're all polymorphed and you can kind of keep going. I'm excited to try these abilities out. I like how they're completely different than the Dragonshire one, where you can punt one person and you can lay fire down. So I like how it's completely different abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I thought someone else would say something, so I was just agreeing with you. I think it's great that they're having the different abilities, and that only goes on to show that if Blizzard wants to, they can add different abilities to them, or maybe. Here's an idea I haven't thought of for maps like this. They can add a team talent to where whenever your team is the Horror or the Dragon Knight, your team can decide what special attacks that particular unit has too.
Oh, that'd be like certain seeds give it certain superpowers.
Yeah, like so. I mean, like if we wanted to give it like a charge attack to punt, we select that and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, the team would have to work together how they figure that out. But that's just the start of an idea of someone smarter than me can finish, of course.
Ben, you were shaking your head at that. Why are you shaking your head?
Just the fact that you kept using the word, and you would keep using the word superpowers.
What's wrong with that word?
Anytime we bring something up, it's like superpowers. It's like
superpowers.
It's because I really want to have superpowers of my own. That's why. Ben, any strategies that just from kind of reading the description kind of stick out in your head, or any heroes you think that you're definitely going to use once this map is live?
Well, I feel like Blizzard hit the nail on the head pretty well with some of the tips that they were given on their page, where they talked about like Gazlo and Sagara and Stitches, Brightwing, and Falstad in them. Still gonna play my main boys and see what happens, which is gonna be Tychus and Uther. But I'm kind of curious to see how Sergeant Hammer is gonna play out on this map.
Oh yeah.
But that being said, as well, nighttime, I feel like Sergeant Hammer is going to be pretty vulnerable, just because of the vision decrease. But that is Sergeant Hammer still going to be able to actually. I don't know how I want to word that, so I'm going to skip that for now.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of a comparison, like going down the tree with Sergeant Hammer's extreme range right now, versus like nighttime and viability and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But
That's something that we can probably test out once we have it, and then when we really get in depth on this and talk about our specific strategies that have worked and haven't worked, that's probably something we want to kind of keep on the table to get it ready.
It will be interesting with the decreased visibility, how it will affect Nova and Zeratul, because in a way, with the decreased visibility, everyone's kind of a little cloaked, right?
But they're even more cloaked.
But they're always cloaked anyway, right?
Yeah, but now
Like, you only really see them when they're very close, right?
I can see them when they're a little far off at this point. I've kind of trained my eye. Seeing as though I've been playing a lot of Tyrael lately, I got a lot of AoE abilities, so I've been really keeping an eye out for the Novas and the Zeratul. I feel as though because I have those AoE abilities, it is my job to make them visible before they do anything. So I've been kind of getting pretty good at it. And I feel at night, what's going to happen is it's going to be dark, and you're not going to see as much of a glimmer passing across the screen. We'll see exactly how
That's
it
a good
affects
point. I feel like they will have a high advantage on these maps, but like you said, once we get in, we'll find out.
it. Because not only are they invisible, but you can't see right anyway, so it's
Yeah, it's dark.
double worse.
I disagree with you guys, but we won't know until we're there. So
Exactly.
I'll leave
That's-
that out.
It's gonna be fun. That's exciting about them adding a new map is to test all these theories that we're coming up with and ideas of what will work and what won't. So I'm excited about that part.
The good news is if David disagrees with us, it's 3 against 1 because Ben will automatically disagree with David. So we're
yeah,
We've been
but
agreeing more now. It's been like, I feel like, we've hit the reset button on that.
yeah.
see, now I feel like I have to play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna have to pick a fight tonight.
Dun dun dun.
Like you said, Ben, they had some great kind of hints on what they expected. I mean, the first thing I thought was, man, I'm gonna love playing Gazlo here. It's gonna be so much fun. At night I get to go around and kill everything I can, and there's still plenty of minions because there's 6 mercenary camps on the board, 2 siege giants on each top and bottom, and then a night camp. So Gazlo I'm going to use. They did mention Tassadar David as well because of his ability to scout.
Yeah, that's an ability I should use more. Honestly, it's one I always kind of forget about. So it'll be nice to be able to use that and really be effective with it.
Tyrande with her Sentinel as well, which
Yeah.
I kept getting hit by the other day, and man, I feel like they upped the damage on that thing immensely. Like,
Right? That I had that feeling too the last time I played. Is I kept getting hit by it, and it felt like it was doing so much
it was
damage.
taking like a
Yeah, I've
quarter.
always ignored it. Like, it's a birdie.
Yeah, I always did too, but now it's been hitting me, and it's been like a quarter of my damage. I'm playing Tyrael, who's supposed to be a warrior. I'm like, man, tone down the damage a little bit on a bird that's flying. Like, really,
Bird hurts.
it's a bird. Any final thoughts on Garden of Terror before we actually, like I said, get our hands on it probably next week?
I just want to
Hopefully.
play it.
Yeah, me too.
Like
I want to
straight up.
dive into that garden.
I'm hoping, and I doubt this is going to happen, but I feel like they should open up custom games just for Garden of Terror so people can try it out, or at least make it so you can queue for just the new one so we can try it out and test it. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing, testing the Garden of Terror now.
Maybe they'll do something like that to where they make it a higher rotation. I don't know how it picks the maps behind the scenes. Maybe they'll do something to where it's more likely to pick that map over the others, like the first week or so.
Yeah.
Dude, all I'm saying is they need to do something about that because I haven't played Haunted Mines in over 2 weeks.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say, I think I played 3 Cursed Hollows and 2... what was it? Maybe it was
Black
Black
Arts?
Arpe? Yeah. They're trying to remember it just in one night. I was like, man, like to get... Maybe like a thing where it's like, if you get one, you have a less of a chance of getting that one. Like a nice little algorithm, Who knows?
Dude, for a while, I was like, man, did they take Haunted Mines out of the game, period? Because it just wasn't popping.
Ben's been talking bad about it so much they listened.
Apparently, they were like, this dude's account, yeah, just don't let him play that crap anymore. Just get him to
You
shut up.
blacklisted Haunted Mines?
So we also got the in development blog post where they started talking a little more about the master skins, which
Yes.
I am excited. What do you guys think of the 4 that we saw in the video? You can start, Josh, if you'd like.
I'm excited about them. I play Arthas and Felstad quite a bit, so I'm excited about getting theirs. And I really liked Arthas's horns and stuff like that. I thought he looked super awesome. So I am absolutely in love with these master skins, and I can't wait to see the rest of them.
Yeah, King Stitches. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah, and Lily, I don't want to say I was disappointed, because that's not really a good word. I felt as though of all of them that we've seen, because we saw the Barbarian one at PAX East. Hers, when I first looked at it, I didn't realize it was a master skin. It didn't stick out as much, and then I realized she had extra stuff just attached to her. If that makes sense. Would you guys disagree with me? Agree?
Well, that's kind of how all of them are. I mean, Arthas just has horns, and Felstad has a mohawk.
Right, but they're
But that sticks out a lot. The Falstad mohawk is very. It hits you in the face.
It's prominent. Those horns are very prominent. Lily, it's like she has a backpack with more maps, and she has something on her waist. See, I can't even remember what the differences are just thinking about it. And I've probably watched that video 3 times now. I mean, King Stitches.
I'm gonna do my red carpet critique right now.
Dun-dun.
So on everything, from worst to best. Worst, I'm gonna say Arthas. Horny. Not a good look for him. Kind of looks kind of like Malfurion. I don't really dig it at all. Next up would be Lily. I kind of like the little umbrella look, but really not that interesting. Mohawk Falstad. Sorry?
There was an umbrella. That's what it was.
It's an umbrella, yeah. It's an umbrella. Not bad. Kind of a cool little thing, but Lily sucks. Everybody hates her anyway. Falstad, the Mohawk does help, but again, not really that great. Louis the 14th Stitches. Because if you look, his hook now is a fleur-de-lis, which, as a Canadian and part French-Canadian, very much into. It's a very regal, very l'état c'est moi look. Stitches looks fine in it, and I will definitely be playing the heck out of Stitches for that very, very royal look.
See, we're American. We like brutal looking stuff. So bring on the horns and brutal looking armor.
So we're regal.
Savage.
Yes.
You know what's funny? You know why I agree with you on the best one. I think Stitches is the best master skin of this group. The main reason, because it might be a dumb reason. So if you think about it, you're playing your hero in this new world. What do they call it? It's not Dragonshire.
Garden of Terror.
No, whatever they're calling the
Nexus.
entire world that we're in. Not
Nexus.
the Nexus. No, the high fantasy world. They had a name for it, and I just can't remember. Kingsport. Yeah. So I actually picture Stitches fighting his way through Kingsport, collecting these doodads, and just wearing them. It's actually showing I have been playing through this, and I'm winning, and this is what I found. It's almost like a
so
story.
You weren't playing.
Hoarder.
Yeah. He's collecting things as he's going through each of the different maps, and he's I am in charge of this area.
The amazing thing is, for 30 plus episodes, we've talked about me not quite being ready to pay money for a skin. Because there wasn't one that really grabbed me for a hero I love enough to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have paid for the skin.
Wow.
This is a skin I would have paid for.
As a disclaimer.
So, yeah.
Real quick. In no way are we saying that we think you should charge us for these skins so that David can pay real money. We appreciate them being bought for gold when you hit level 10 as the character.
I would have dropped $10 on that skin. I love the Stitches. It's it's the fleur-de-lis, best sports uniforms, New Orleans Saints, Quebec Nordiques. It's so much a part of my heritage. I love it. I'm going to be playing the heck out of Stitches because I want this skin.
I have a question to ask you guys then, since they only showed a few. Out of the ones they haven't showed, which one are you guys most excited? Who do you want to see? Who are you excited to see?
Tyrael.
Tyrael?
I can just imagine what they're going to do with a Tyrael skin. It's going to be awesome, I think. I'm excited to see a Tyrael master skin.
I think the best Tyrael skin's already in the game, that Seraphim one. It's so cool.
But even the demon one, or demonic, Tyrell's really cool too. That'd be like probably like number 2, very close, I think.
What about you, Ben? What do you want to see?
Now, does this include what we saw at PAX or just this video?
Correct. Yeah, one we haven't seen at all.
A Cho'Gall master
I was
skin.
going to take the cop-out answer. Go down the Cho'Gall route. But,
He's got 3 heads.
seeing how we already know he's in the game, I'm kind of curious to see a Nubarak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just because we know he's in the game. I mean,
Oh, they showed him in the video.
but no, Tychus will be pretty cool. I really want to see like a really different and innovative Tychus skin.
Mhm.
So
David.
I'd like to see a really good Sergeant Hammer skin, like something way out there. Like I don't know what it would be,
like a
just
motorcycle.
something really, really funky.
A motorcycle, a little
you want to
sidecar
see
on it and
more of the
everything.
Dwarven siege machines is what
Yep.
he wants to see.
Yeah, or maybe
That's what I'm
maybe the master, because it's got to be
Demolisher.
kind of just an enhanced hammer. Because if it's something totally different, like a Warcraft siege engine or something,
That's true.
then it's gonna that's a to me that's a payable skin.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's gonna be something. So I just want like some just like a what is it with the M1? What is the big tank that's out there right now? Like just something like really big, nasty, lots of stuff on it type Sergeant Hammer. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Well, like Zerg skulls on it.
Yeah, something like that, or spikes, or something like really imposing.
So really imposing with
Right.
skulls
Yeah.
and spikes.
You don't
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
get
I guess
close
you know
to
what
it.
I'm talking about. Like, they can't make it too different, but the Stitches one is certainly not just like an enhanced Stitches. This is definitely like something. Like I said, it could have been a payable skin. I would pay for it.
Stop. Josh, what about you? Which one do you want to see?
She's not in the game yet, but she's also one of my top Blizzard people, fantasy characters, is Sylvanas. I love her, and her backstory is amazing, and I can't wait for her to get in the game. The only reason I haven't talked about her is because they haven't showed much on her. So I am excited to see what they do with her and with what an ultimate skin can be for her because of her backstory and stuff that they could create for her.
Bullet Catcher in the chat room, ETC. That will be a really interesting master skin.
Yeah. ETC could be a good one, considering since he's music related. They have the 80s glam rock guy, and they have the country western.
Well, personally, one shoulder pad needs to be the head of Sam Didier, and the other shoulder pad needs to be Chris Siggety. And I mean, let's just go from there.
They can make him look like a
war ETC.
You took what I was about to say. Guar.
Oh God.
Well, let's hope they don't put the whole costume on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Any kind of final thoughts on master skins? I will probably talk about them a little bit more once we get into the next section, as now we know how we're going to get them. But any other last minute kind of master skin discussion you guys can think of?
No,
Not for me.
just more.
Yeah.
I love Blizzard's artists and their designers, and just want to see more.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
You know what's? I think we're going to see probably beginning of next week either StarCraft or Diablo, and they're going to do 4 of them. And I think we're going to see when we see Diablo. I think we're going to see Tyrael, Diablo, Vala, and Witch Doctor.
Diablo should be Diablo 3 Diablo.
Fem Diablo.
Oh God,
I'll call it right now. I was promised that in the trailer.
You weren't promised anything in the trailer. If we learned anything this week from all the news and the crazy people on the forums, is that things that happen at BlizzCon aren't promises. They're ideas and
trailer.
suggestions.
Heck, everything in the Blizzard and Heroes right now were not promised. Everything in Heroes right now is not promised because it's still tech alpha.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and move into what I think is kind of the biggest change in terms of the news we've gotten, and that's the incoming progression system and reward changes. I'm excited. I was the one thing I was expecting to get with this, but it looks like it's not going to happen, is an actual wipe of our levels. It looks like we're going to be staying at the levels we are at for this.
Does it say that there?
When you read it, that's how I picked it. But we'll start kind of going through everything, and I'll show you the wording that made it sound like we're going to stay where we're at. David, why don't you kind of take the quick what changes are going to happen with the player profile?
Well, I mean, I kind of only skimmed it, but I mean, essentially from the way I read it was that and that's kind of why I was like, how can we stay the same? Is that, to my understanding, is that it's the idea of leveling is going to be through hero progress. It's not really the idea of being, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just sort of my understanding is that we're leveling heroes now. We're not leveling ourselves.
We're still doing both.
Are we doing both?
Yep. So you're leveling your heroes and this XP that you get in a match. So say you get 100 XP, you get 100 XP, and that hero gets 100 XP. So what'll happen is you're leveling your heroes 1 to 10, and you're at this point. It looks they didn't say anything about level changes. It looks like we'll still be 1 to 40.
Okay.
Yep.
If that's the case, then I mean, it's okay, I guess. I mean, to me, I mean, the idea is that there's going to be all of a sudden hero progress and rewards, which I mean, we've always kind of had. We've just had different ways of going about it, right? I mean, we've had it in the last, in this present version where but in this present version, it's not really through XP. It's more just through games played.
Yep.
So in that sense, you may have just changed my whole thought process on this on this change, because now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe that's good then.
Okay.
Because my concern was that we were going to lose our levels as a whole. In that case, then I think it's a great thing. I was already here to tear it apart, but if it's done by XP, then I think that's pretty cool. I think it's much better than just the amount of games that you play at a hero level. But there is still something, and I knew there was something that would bother me about this. The idea that it won't necessarily be just for versus games, that you can also do it in co-op. And that I'm not a big fan of at all. I do not think we should be gaining really a whole lot in co-op. And I know that's, I guess, pseudo-elitist, but to me, co-op is where you learn the game, and versus is where you play the game.
And it's funny because one of the things that they specifically said is due to the stuff on the forums that they actually put it back in where you can get in co-op mode rather than just through versus. And I'm like, I agree with you too. And I don't know, maybe we're kind of the group of people that maybe were against the majority with this, but I think versus is where you should be seeing your rewards in co-op. Just like you said, it's kind of where you learn. I could almost guarantee Ben agrees with me and you on that one. And Josh, what do you think of that?
Of the system like this?
Yeah, with co-op actually getting you XP with this.
Oh, no, I don't like it because co-op you play against. I haven't done you just play against a computer, don't you?
Yes.
I don't like that because computer's easy, and it's just like you just go in here and grind out your levels for your character, and that's it, and don't have to worry about doing too well because the computer's so easy.
Now, I would expect, because I haven't played co-op in so long, I don't even know if it's right. I would expect co-op to have a much lower XP gain. Like you should get more XP for playing in versus matches.
That or you have to play on the hardest difficulty that they have for computer, and the computer won't be easy. Something like that. You shouldn't be able to put it on super easy, and even if it's a little bit of XP, that adds up fast. You know what I mean?
Yep. So hero rewards. So the main difference is now your hero will actually level from 1 to 10, like we had mentioned. You start at level 1. But I really like how they kind of build the rewards and the extra talents as part of the hero rather than part of your personal player leveling. Before it was level 10 where you got the additional talents. Now what they're doing is at level 2 you get your second heroic ability. So everyone will start with one heroic ability. You play the hero a little bit, you get the second. I like that. You're building on to learning the hero. At level 3 and then again at level 4 you get more talents. Now, I think that's perfect because now you're actually leveling and getting your talents as you're leveling the specific hero and kind of building on to kind of a not pre-learning, that's a bad word, but I don't even think that's a real word. It's like you already know how to play the hero. Now you're going to get 6 additional talents at level 3, so you can kind of change up how you play them, learn them a little more, and then at level 4 have all talents. Ben, what do you think of that change in terms of gaining the talents and your heroic ability?
No, I don't like it. I as far as the actual leveling up each hero, that's fine when it involves things like gold or cosmetics and stuff like that. Anything that affects a gameplay mechanic, I don't like it. I don't feel like we should be absolute noob spoon feeding everything. And I want an open kit. When I pick a champion, if I go into the shop and I either buy it with gold or real money, which I've done, most of my champions that I own. First night I got into Heroes, it dropped $100 instantly. I should have the full kit, and it's my choice, and it's also my responsibility at that point to learn the champion, to play with the different talents that are in there, and play with the different, heroic abilities and so on. I like having the option with Tychus of either picking Odin or picking the drill, because there's pros and cons to both, and I use both of them. I don't just strictly use only one. I go back and forth between both of them depending on the team composition and depending on what map we're on. So I don't want to... granted, level 2, second heroic ability, you could probably get that really fast. Still, I want the option out the gate. I don't want to have to level up to get all the talents and all that other stuff.
Okay. David, what are your thoughts?
You know what? First of all, since today is apparently opposite day, I totally agree with Ben. The idea of having to grind to get talents, so basically what you're saying is I'm walking into this hero. This is gonna be my first impression of this hero. Really excited to play him. Oh wait, I suck because I don't have all the talents that I want. Right? So I think that to me, I don't like the idea of unlocking things that I need to win the game. Okay. If like Ben said, if I pay for a hero, I expect to have the kit there. Like you said, maybe the skins and things like that, the tint variations. And I apologize because I'm trying to run through all of this. The time we recorded this podcast, this news had literally just dropped hours before, so we haven't had a great chance to digest it. To me, looking at all of this, at a glance, the biggest news is not the leveling. The biggest news is what they're talking about, this level 15 option, which is artifacts. What they're listing here is level 15 artifacts. You have unlocked the ability to purchase powerful artifacts that improve your heroes. Artifacts are now available in the shop. So they talk about how they're going to talk about that a little bit more. What the heck is this?
Kind of feels like a rune system, or the thing from LOL a little bit.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to get into that in just a little bit.
Sorry.
Break
news.
Yeah. We'll do.
Beep, 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 beep.
We're steering the show now.
I know.
I'm standing here next to level 15 artifacts. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah. Well, let's just finish up with the kind of the hero builds, just so people kind of, we're kind of give the people all that information, and then we can we'll go into that right next. So basically, I disagree with both of you. I like it. It depends on how fast you can level from 1 to 4. If it's a quick leveling and you get a little bit of time practicing, I don't mind that. I think it's a good learning curve. Josh, kind of quick. Agree, disagree? Do you think it should be there? Do you think you should get the full kit?
Well, at first I thought, okay, I agree with it. It's fine. Let's slowly get it in. And then Ben and David started talking, and then I kind of sided with them because they made some valid points. If you're, say, Nova is the first person I thought of in this. Say you're Nova going in, and you already kind of know how to play her by watching stuff and reading stuff online, and this is your first match with her. You're not going to get all the talents as maybe the other Nova, so you might not do as well, so you may be disencouraged to play her too. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to do as well. You're not going to do the build that you want, that you've seen online, that you're interested in, because you're not going to have everything. Granted, we don't know how long that leveling is going to take. Maybe you can get all 4 levels in a match or 2, but if it's depending how long that takes, can also give or take that situation too. So I kind of like the idea of having all the talents at once. That way you can look up on a hero, figure out what you want, and then just jump in, pick those talents as you go.
This is for my own personal comparison of information. Adam, what expansion did you start playing WoW?
Vanilla.
Okay.
That wasn't an expansion.
Continue. Sorry.
So, and then to kind of round up your hero rewards, at level 6 you have to earn the portrait now rather than having all the portraits, amount variation. Then you get skin variation 1 and 2 for 7 and 8. Your hero master portrait and mount variation 2, and then finally your master skin at 10, which you can use gold to buy. It's not completely free, but it is free of actual real money. You have to use the gold. How it's going to work in terms of where you're at right now, because they're not doing a full level wipe. If you're, say, completely done with everything with a hero, you will come in at level 6. You still will have to earn these skin variations and on your way up. And if you're at, say, you're on the second step of what would consider level 2 of the hero quests, you'll roll down to like level 2. You won't be halfway to level 3. You'll actually be at level 2. So finish up the 4 games with this person, 10 games with that person, in order to kind of get to the max level before this new system comes into play with the next patch.
I don't like that, because if you're playing, if you're going after your 15th match, you shouldn't have to dumb down your talents because of this option here. You know what I mean? The reward system. You shouldn't lose talents if you're going after 15 matches. That means you already played at least 16 matches, because 10, 4, 2, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so you already played enough matches to kind of understand how that character is. You shouldn't lose those abilities at all.
Yeah, but I think it's just you're switching between them, so they had to set some kind of a, you're at whatever your level is, and then you're starting from there. Unfortunately, you kind of had to do it, push to the next level if you really want to before the patch. Okay, so now we'll go into the personal leveling system, where you kind of get a few things taken away from it, like the talents, but you will actually get another hero rotation slot, so that'll bring you up to 7 total heroes that are free each week. There'll be bonus gold mixed in there, and like David said, there are artifacts.
There's artifacts everywhere, Adam. We have to address it.
Yes, we have to address it. Like, I agree with you 100%. This is probably of everything that's here, that's like the biggest news. So, David, what do you think artifacts are going to be? Because they're going to be in the store, so you're going to purchase them. Is it going to be gold or real money?
Whoa! It better be gold.
It has to be gold.
It better be an option for sure. It's got to be an option of gold or real money. I think I agree with Ben in the sense that it's got to be something like a rune system. They're very much against having it like a weapons shop, and plus it doesn't really make sense. If we're purchasing it in the shop, we're not going to be doing that in the middle of a game. So it's got to be something like a rune system. I think this changes the game drastically in terms of the whole leveling idea, because then all of a sudden we are spending gold on things other than just a hero, and so even if I level up as much as I want, if I don't have the gold to spend on it and kind of maximize it, I'm going to be at a disadvantage. It does reward people who've played a lot, and I think that's good. It reminds me a little bit about playing Hearthstone, where in the sense that like everyone can win, if you're good enough, but it sure helps to have the best cards. And so, you have to grind for that gold. I think from an overall game perspective, I think it's a positive. We've talked before about having needing motivation to play once you hit max level. I think this will definitely give you that. I hope the artifacts that you purchase are going to be specific to heroes and not overall, because then I think that will give you more things to play for. But I think this is compared to the way the game has been sort of sold on the talents and everything like that, I think this is a very, very big change to the game.
Ben, what are your thoughts?
Number one, I'll agree with David in respect. I think it's a huge change to the game. Depending on how it's implemented, of course, we're going to have to see. I definitely think it adds the avenue for a lot more customization and how heroes play out. Because, the talents right now, yes, they add viable solutions to taking different approaches. However, a lot of them are kind of cut and dry as far as you'll go down either path A or path B, in most cases. So you still have flexibility there, but not as much customization as maybe everybody originally thought. Artifacts are going to allow us hopefully to do that. I don't mind if they're necessarily generic and they're not as hero restricted. Like an example being specific artifacts that decreases the cooldown on Holy Radiance for Uther, just as an example. I don't mind if they're like generic, broad artifacts, but they definitely need to be accessible via gold. You should, number one, not be able to pay real money for them. and they should not be required to pay real money for them. It should be specifically gold. Period.
See, I agree with you, actually. Everything until the very end there. Because I really think it's going to be like runes in League of Legends where you can buy them for the in-game currency or the out-of-game currency. Because I just think that's the way it's going to go. Do I agree with it? I don't know. I think it's... I don't know if I agree with it being able to be bought with real money, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be there. Because you're going to be looking at, the people who have time to grind out the gold are going to buy it with gold, and the people who don't have the time will have the option to buy it with cash.
And that's when you start getting into the whole argument of pay to win.
Exactly.
Because you're adding one more avenue to that argument when you do that.
I don't mind the idea of people being able to pay real money, but I've got to have that route to be able to grind for it with in-game gold.
That is absolutely mandatory.
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe it will go to be just gold because how much gold do you have saved up, Adam? Now that you're 40 and you just have gold?
I have 33,000 gold.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a gold sink for people to actually want to do the quest, unlock gold to buy these artifacts for their characters. I don't think they're going to do real money at all because, like Ben said, it becomes pay to win with that option. And with the way Blizzard is, I don't see them doing that, honestly. I believe it's just going to be a gold sink, so all those high-level people who are earning this gold will be able to sink their gold into these artifacts, but I don't think these artifacts will give you some advantage, but I don't think they're going to be like game breaking. If everyone on your team has artifacts, you're automatically going to win either. I think they're going to be nice enhancements, but I don't think they're going to make automatically mean that your team will win if you guys have them and the other team doesn't.
Right, and that's why I think real money is an option, because if it's not going to be 100% game breaking where if everyone has it, you need it to win, then it's not pay to win. It's pay to be a little better, just like you can play more to be a little better.
No, we're going to add a whole new genre, guys. Pay to win, pay to be a little bit better, and then just
pay to be a little bit better.
Those are my thoughts.
This artifacts thing, as you can tell, I'm excited about it. I think it's a really dynamic thing. We've got our top men working on it. Mm-hmm. Top men.
I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about it once we actually know what they are.
I believe Blizzard's probably holding off on them right now because they're probably something like that seems like it's going to have to a lot of testing internally to make sure they get it balanced for everybody.
I feel like we're going to get them in the next patch because you're going to be able to earn the ability to buy them in the next patch.
I think it's going to be the patch after.
Oh.
I think it may give us that option, and it'll just say not available at this time. I think that's a next patch thing. It's too big for them to introduce right away. I think the next patch is coming.
You think a hero battleground and artifacts is too much in one patch?
I think artifacts is
a huge
patch into itself.
There is no such thing as too much in one patch. All right.
Just ask EA.
I'm waiting for player housing.
Player housing and heroes.
Player housing. I want my own little altar thing.
But as long as it's far away from murky, I'm happy.
Don't get me started on how awesome player housing could be actually with that.
So, I kind of hit the last, I think, big news for kind of this blog post, and that's kind of the daily quests in gold. So daily quests are basically going to give you less gold. So rather than getting 250, you're going to get 500. Instead of getting 500, you can get 250. So it's never good to get less gold for quests. But now if you play a co-op mode and win, you get 10 gold. And in versus, if you lose, you get 10 gold, and if you win, you get 40 gold. So I'm excited for this. That means you can actually play games and earn gold actively. So if you're playing a lot, you can then, buy your artifacts because you're making more gold.
Yeah, doesn't that just prove more to point of artifacts going for just strictly gold too? Maybe even cheap artifacts might even be less than 100 gold.
No, I don't think so.
Because you're getting 10 and 40, 10 for loses and 40 for wins. I mean, it's possible depending on how powerful it is.
I disagree. I don't think it has anything
It
to
is
do with
it is a possibility.
I think it's just people have been really dying for a way of earning gold just from playing, and they're kind of answering that call, and they're like, okay, it's just like in League of Legends, you get IP every match, and here now you'll be able to get gold for every match that you play, in order to get unlock more heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah, just to give you that incentive to play, to make
Pass
that
your
goal.
quests. Yeah, play more than just your quest. Kind of like Hearthstone, where you get 3 wins, you get 10 gold. Kinda same
And just
idea.
and you remember a while ago, someone brought up a point how long it would take for you to unlock all the heroes just using gold. This will get you to unlock those heroes faster.
Yep. I guarantee now that they have something like that, we're going to hear at least one death in the Asian area about a kid who played for 10 days straight and didn't drink or eat because he wanted to unlock all the heroes in a week and a half.
Didn't move from the internet cafe at all.
Yeah.
Kind of a dark place to end the episode.
Sorry.
Yo, man. All I'm saying is, them kids need to
Jeez.
check their game, because I remember back in the old days of expansions, Wrath specifically, I took 7 days off work and I stayed up for 5 straight leveling. If I can do it and stay alive, those kids can do it and stay alive.
Yeah, but I mean, Ben, look at me and you.
Just saying.
We have the reserves.
What are you implying?
I'm implying that we're not skinny Asian kids.
I would like to say that we do not condone overplaying of games. The Nexus podcast is not condoned.
There's 2 things we don't condone: paying for master skins and overplaying of games.
Paying for artifacts only with real money, that we don't condone either.
Okay.
And also going for the smiley face in Blackheart's Bay. We don't condone that
We
either.
We're gonna have a list of non-condoning.
Yes.
Stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Next episode.
Okay, so I think that about does it for this week's episode. I want to thank everybody for listening. Josh, why don't you kind of let people know what you've been up to? I know there's some new news for you in terms of podcasting, so let them know where they can hear you other than the Nexus.
Yes, I joined a new podcast. It's based on World of Warcraft. We don't really talk about news too much. It's a different kind of World of Warcraft podcast. You have to tune in and listen to it. It's called Last Stand Radio, and it's a lot of fun. Met those guys through Row and Rail Maintenance, which he is amazing too. Rail Maintenance, you gotta check him out. But that's something new that I've added to my plate of podcasting is that. So definitely check me out on that. We record every Saturday night. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at Pakwan_AIE, PAKKUAN_AIE. That's me.
David, where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at BerlanCTR. I'm always more than happy to talk about any topic on Twitter, so let me know. Also, I am currently writing a column on CatalystGamingMedia.com. My second article should be coming up this week, upcoming, so I've got one up there already. The Leet Sauce guys posted the podcast that I was on, so that was a lot of fun. You get to find a little bit of personal stuff about me that I don't normally reveal here on the Nexus. So if you want to find out things like, my least favorite teacher at school, or what is it exactly that I collect, you can find out there. It was a great podcast. I think we went about 2.5, 3 hours. We talked a lot of heroes. It was done a few weeks ago, so it's not out of date because we're talking about stuff that's in the current game right now. But those guys are great. We had a lot of fun doing that as well.
And Ben, what have you been up to?
A lot of travel for work. I'm like a drone at this point. I'm going to be gone all of August, most of September. It's going to suck, but yeah, I don't know. You can reach me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs. It's STAKSNPAKS. Just hit me up on there if you want to either PvP and WoW and go kill Alliance, or go play some heroes. We're going to be doing some team tree outs at some point, I hope. Depending on Adam, if he ever gets off, his lazy butt. And yeah, I'm not really ready to talk about my other project right now, so I'll kind of end on that note.
Ooh.
You've been hinting at it for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
My other project.
Does it have to do with artifacts?
No, I'm building a game, but it's probably going to be a while before I'm ready to even like remotely start talking about it. So
Cool.
Excited to hear about it.
Cool.
Well, you can reach me at Geek of Random or directly at the show at the Nexus Podcast. You can send any questions, feedback, anything to show at heroesofTheNexus.com. And for me, you can actually see me now on Saturday Night Showdowns every Saturday at 11 o'clock, where we play. It's been mainly Hearthstone, but we're going to get some StarCraft 2 in there, and hopefully some other games that maybe not even Blizzard related. Basically just fun kind of exhibition tournaments, which may eventually turn into kind of like a what I call a federation format, where there's a champion and people get to vie for the championship. Other than that, this past week I was on the Twisted Nether blogcast with Fimless, which was very exciting. It was a lot of fun. I got to talk to them about World of Warcraft and mention a little about Heroes of the Storm. For those of you who are just listening to the podcast, either through iTunes, Stitcher, the Windows Marketplace, you can come join us every Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time at twitch.tv/Heroes of the Nexus. And for those of you who want to help us out a little bit and support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/The Nexus Podcast. And finally, we are members of the Catalyst Gaming Media. For more blogs, podcasts, YouTubers, just head on over to catalystgamingmedia.com. For other great shows just like ours. I like to think we're great.
Woo!
Me too.
Yes. So everybody have yourselves a great weekend. We will see you all inside the Nexus. Goodbye, everyone.
See you, everybody.
King Stitches commands you to have a good night.
good night, everybody, and have a safe weekend.
Okay, and stop recording.
All right, I'm gonna export this and upload this, but I actually have to jump off Skype like right now. So
You're fired.
oh, that sucks.
You sound broken up.
Okay,
I
well,
was just kidding, buddy.
we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull it down. I'm probably going to be playing a little bit of Heroes as soon as I get something saved. Anybody that's in the chat room that plays is more than welcome to jump in. If we have room in the team, we can definitely have you join. I don't know if any of these guys will be playing.
Notice we had a VIP in the chat room who was quiet all night. I won't call him out or anything, though. But on that note, I gotta go. So I'll talk to you guys later.
Good
See you,
night.
Ben.
Bye.
See you, man.
Everyone
Have
have
a
a
good
great weekend.